So the American people need to understand if they're giving him some injection so that he can actually look like he's coherent and he's with us.
All right. What sort of injection could President Joe Biden be getting to hide his dementia? That's the medical question we will seek to answer in this segment. And I believe that it is time to do this because these right-wingers just won't stop. Here's yet another example of Congressman Byron Donald, a Trump-loving Republican, on Fox News, completely baselessly, recklessly suggesting to Maria Bartiromo that Joe Biden is getting injections to appear coherent. Let's take this seriously for a moment. Here's what Byron Donald had to say. Then I'll tell you what the truth of the matter is.
Okay, so what did you see when you were at the State of the Union? You heard what your colleague Greg Murphy said. He's the head of the Doctors Caucus. He says, quote, Joe Biden was jacked up. Now you've got President Trump saying he wants drug testing. Should there be drug testing before these debates?
Maria, I'll tell you, I absolutely agree with that. There should. You could tell that Joe Biden comes in, he's jacked up, and then as the hour goes by, he slowly winds down. So the American people need to understand if they're giving him some injection so that he can actually look like he's coherent and he's with us.
All right. So that's the allegation without evidence. He's jacked up, and then during an hour period, he winds down. And we need to know what sort of injection he might be getting. Now, first of all, slowly winding down is kind of normal, right? Like as speeches and days go on, you get tired. It's not a crazy smoking gun if after a 90-minute speech, your energy is lower than at the beginning of a 90-minute speech. But let's put that aside for a second. There aren't an unlimited number of substances that could be given to Joe Biden. Now, put aside for a second that many of these would be taken orally. They wouldn't even be injected. Let's just generally talk about what could Joe Biden be receiving. Stimulants, right? You've got your Adderall and your Ritalin and drugs typically prescribed for ADHD. They increase alertness. Sometimes they're used for study drugs in college. They increase attention. They increase an energy level. They last 4 to 6 hours. Adderall's 4 to 6 hours. Ritalin's 3 to 5. So even if Joe Biden were taking such a stimulant, there's no reason that after a 60 or 90-minute speech it would be wearing off because they last 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. In addition, stimulants don't improve cognitive function in people with dementia. So, all right. So the idea is stimulants also, I don't know why it would be injected. You normally take these orally. Doesn't make any sense. And by the way, you risk anxiety and agitation because in a lot of people, these drugs generate a sense of anxiety, agitation, and jitteriness. So you risk Joe Biden actually coming off less coherent if the point is you're trying to make him more coherent. So, okay, the stimulants, not a likely candidate. What about nootropics? Nootropics like modafinil. Nootropics are substances that claim to enhance cognitive function like executive function or creativity. Usually those last 12 to 15 hours. There's no reason it would wear off during an hour the way Byron Donalds is suggesting. And again, nootropics don't address underlying dementia pathology. If that's what you're trying to cover with a nootropic, they can't conceal or reverse the sort of cognitive deficits that they claim Biden has. You then have, I hope I pronounced this correctly, it's cholinesterase inhibitors. These are drugs like donepezil and rivastigmine. I'm sure these are abortive pronunciations, but these are often prescribed to manage symptoms of Alzheimer's disease. They have very long half-lives. Donepezil has a half-life of 70 hours. One of the other ones is 10 hours. So these effects last a really long time, but they're extremely mild. They wouldn't jack you up with the energy that they claim Joe Biden is jacked up on. And then beyond this, we're in like super speculative stuff, you know, like the bottom. What about ginkgo biloba, stuff that's not at all proven, antipsychotics, which wouldn't improve cognitive function. So the most plausible thing is coffee. Is coffee the cognitive smoking gun now? We're banking on coffee being the dementia hiding super drug that is being injected so that you jack up Joe Biden. And of course, the effects of caffeine usually start 15, 20 minutes after consumption. They can last 3 to 5 hours. The half-life is like 5 hours. And usually the peak effects last 1 or 2 hours. Caffeine doesn't impact cognitive impairments caused by dementia. Caffeine temporarily causes an increase in alertness and can make you feel less tired. So the bottom line here is, even if we want to seriously deal with what they are suggesting without evidence, that Joe Biden is being injected with something, there really isn't a something that would do what they say it is doing. So it's time for them to stop the reckless speculation. We should look at what the actual mental health experts are saying, and they've been very clear. Donald Trump's behavior is far more disturbing than Joe Biden's when it comes to cognitive state. Monday is Memorial Day. We are doing our first of the year and first of the new website membership drive. We want to set the single day record for new members. We are getting beaten back and down by Facebook, which has said we won't recommend political content anymore. Instagram, TikTok, all of them. Okay. Let's do this. If you want to be notified about this one-day membership special, just get out our newsletter at davidpakman.com. Monday morning, you will get an email. It will be a beautiful thing. Let's take a quick break and then the show continues. It is time to start thinking like voters and to make sure that kids understand the importance of voting, how it works, registering, ballot initiatives, because so many kids just have no idea. That's why I wrote the new children's book, Think Like a Voter. I can think of no better time and no more important group of folks to try to reach. The book is now available at davidpakman.com/book, where, by the way, you can get the first 2 books in the series as well. Think Like a Detective and Think Like a Scientist. Really important stuff. Donate them to local libraries, classrooms, read them with the kids. davidpakman.com/book.